Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by thestreamingadvisor.com. Tailor your entertainment with streaming. And what you're looking at here is a new Android box, the We2USAT K3 Pro. I'm using a special launcher, something that I've just put together using TV Launcher to kind of highlight some things about this in the initial run-up. Why didn't I just do the whole video using its regular launcher? Because the point of an Android device is that you can personalize it a lot more than you can pretty much everything else, especially something that's running on an unlocked version of Android. This is running on Android 10, and the great thing about Android 10 is, unlike previous earlier versions of Android, a couple of years ago, Android 10 allows you to run TV apps. And so we've set this up with TV apps, whether they're music or video apps and so on. And, this is just how I like to set up an Android box. Yeah, it looks kind of like the Roku, you might think. And that's because I've always enjoyed the Roku setup. I think it's simple and direct. This doesn't have a whole lot of distractions, and this launcher allows me to set up all of my own headings and just keep things more organized. So that's why I'm working with it in that manner. I feel like it highlights the sorts of things you can do. It allows for tons of video apps, tons of audio apps. It even allows browsers. These are great on-screen browsers, including the famous Downloader. You can use that to access APK Mirror or other things that you might need to use to get a hold of apps that you can't find in the Google Play Store. But the cool thing is that the Google Play Store on this device is a TV version of the Google Play Store. So again, it's not the mobile app store, it's the TV app store. There are lots of options, lots of ways to set it up. This is just mine. You'll see that there is a lot to work with. You have different settings menus. Some are set up specific to the box. Some are set up for Android themselves. And it should be pretty familiar to you if you've been used to using things like this. If you're not, welcome to a whole new world of interacting with your media and the rest of the internet. Now, how do you know that we've actually got this box, that I'm not just running this on some other Android device I've got? Well, we're going to show you, because we did unbox it and take a look at what you get with the box. You'll see here that we have the KS Pro right here on my crowded desk. There it is, the K3 Pro. I think I called it the KS Pro just a second ago, but whoopsie-doo. It's got an SD card port and 2 USB ports on the side so that you can set up dongles and or controllers, things like that. The cool thing is that the remote that comes with this manages to navigate it quite well, unlike some older devices. So you got your HDMI, all of the important things that you're going to need to use to set up a normal standard setup. It's got solid venting on the bottom. And in general, it's a heavy enough device. It's not going to slide around too much depending on how you have your wires set up, but it's not metal. It is plastic. In the US, this is the cord that you get. Obviously, you're going to ask for the kind of cord you need depending on where you are living. And you see the remote is pretty substantial. It's a nice size. It's got launch buttons on the bottom. The red and blue buttons don't do a lot in most of the apps, but you see that it's got voice control. It's got your arrow buttons to navigate, numbers so that you don't have to use the on-screen keyboard for everything, and it works pretty well. Along with that, you do get an HDMI cord, so thank you. We don't have to run out and find one. Of course, most exciting, it's the box. Okay, so once you have that set up, you'll find that the menus are very nice. This is the basic menu that you find when you go into its settings, and it brings you to all of the important places that you need to get to within the back end of the box. You see that you can set it up with minimal problems. It's got an easy to use general setup that will show you how to access. It allows you to set it up all the way up to like 4K. The box says 6K, but I mean, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. There's no such thing as 6K. So if anybody says, "Oh, this box has a 6K or 24K or anything like that," that's really not possible. The most any TV does right now is 8K, and this box is not going to do 8K. So 6K is more like think about it like a nickname. It's the 6K. But you see that it is running, like I said, Android 10, so that you've got a more television-based interface that allows you to navigate it with the normal controller and not be forced to use something like an air mouse. If you get into apps that require air mouses, well, you're going to need one, or, a wireless keyboard. This has a decent amount of space. You see that the apps are only taking up 2.8 gigabytes right now, and I have a fair amount of major apps already loaded to it. I don't know just how many apps it'll take to make this thing tap out. Everything has its limits. I wish it had more RAM. It's got 4 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, but I could always go for 8 to 16, but I'm kind of a power user. You see that you've got different configurations for accessibility purposes. And that's nice because we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and it's nice that there's ways to help people who need it have other ways to access things. Everything sort of runs through Bluetooth unless you're using a dongle. Like the controller that it comes with is already set up to run on its Bluetooth, so that's nice. You don't have to do a lot to get it paired and things like that. But any sort of setting, it walks you right through in the initial menu. Now, something that I like about this is that you can run your speed test and see just how fast this is, and it goes right with it. We've set this up right here with an Ethernet connection, and actually no, I believe it's using Wi-Fi. No, it's using Wi-Fi. We have 300 megabits per second up and down as far as our Wi-Fi connection, and you see that the box itself is handling it pretty well. Because really the strength of your internet connection has little to do with what the capacity of your device is. And as you see, let it finish up. Download 285 megabits per second. Upload comes to 185 megabits per second. And see, that's pretty solid. Now, I don't know how much uploading you're going to be doing with this box because really it's more of a media device. I wouldn't try to run a server on it, but that's what NASs and dedicated PCs are for, right? Within this, you can also set it up to quit your items and things like that. This is a separate item that I downloaded, this app, to basically cancel things out. But in general with Android devices, you want to make sure that you cancel back-end apps because they can take up a lot of its resources as you go, and you don't want to lose speed and capabilities. So that's why I downloaded that background apps process list right from the Google Play Store. This is the initial setup menu. You can access the entire thing and go through step by step. It's going to launch for you when you first turn the device on, but if you need to go back through and change any settings, they're right there. And I find that helpful. It's also good if you're giving it to a friend, maybe they speak a different language, or I don't know, maybe you're selling it to somebody. But either which way, it allows for multiple languages. You set up your time zones, all of the basics. It's easy to navigate, though. Very easy to navigate. There you see your different setups as far as your screen capabilities. This setup only goes up to 1080p for us, but like I said, you can do 4K video, no problem. The scaling tool is very simple to use. You just want to set it up so that it's taking up the full screen for you. Unless you want it smaller. I mean, it's all up to you. But as you see, it's a pretty basic setup. And the thing is that it's easy to navigate. Again, it's chirpy. It snaps right along with the remote that you get in the box. And it's very responsive. So I like that a lot. Now, this is what you might call, though, the vanilla launcher. This is what it comes loaded with before you do any of the special things that I've done. It's a very straightforward, everything right out there for you to see it sort of thing. Not unlike an Apple TV or something like that. But as I was saying, when you launch something like YouTube, you see that it is set up with the TV version of YouTube. So this isn't some hinky little device that makes you use mobile apps for everything, except for Netflix. You'll see here that this is the Android version of Netflix. Yes, you can navigate it with your remote, but it is not on the level that you can use it the same way that you can on something like a Fire TV or something like that. In fact, if you try to download that Netflix app, it doesn't work. It'll say this can't be used on your device. Disney Plus, on the other hand, does work. The Android version of this works just fine with the TV. It's not a mobile version, so I liked that. And it also includes Amazon Prime preloaded. You saw that it had the pre-launch buttons on there. So the Prime Video app is loaded. That was a long time coming with Android. I don't know how long you've been familiar with Android, but there was a time when you could not get the Amazon Prime Video app on an Android device to save your life unless it was some weird workaround. But now, due to new partnerships and people playing nice, you get a whole lot more at your fingertips no matter what device you're using. So, speaking of apps, as I said, when you jump into the Google Play Store, you will find that the Google Play Store is the TV version of the Google Play Store, which originally debuted with, the Google Nexus player, I believe. And so, we'll jump into that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Jump. And there we go. So, there you go. See, this is the standard Google Play Store for television that has all TV apps instead of mobile apps. This means that you can set this up with most of your favorites. Like I said, Netflix just won't play well with this device. And if that's your main focus, there are lots of other things that run Netflix just fine. You've probably got a smart TV app on your television right now that runs Netflix, no problem. But I like that it has the TV version of the App Store. And as I was showing you, you can even add other app stores using the downloader. But all of the great music apps, all of the things like you use for podcasts and things like that are all going to be available to you right here. All of that free content's just sitting there waiting for you to add it. The box uses voice control, so you can speak to it and tell it what you want. Like, let's say we want to jump in and do like launchers or something. We'll do that. This is how you're going to add things. So launchers. And this is how we added that TV launcher that we were using earlier. We downloaded it directly from the Google Play Store. And this box doesn't force you to use its initial launcher. And that's helpful. There's a lot of devices out there that aren't so helpful with that. And, I mean, they've got their reasons. They've got advertising agreements and things like that. Maybe they don't want you to putz around too much with the settings and then call them up and complain that it's not working. That's not the case with these guys. And, and if you do have a problem where you've changed the settings to something that don't work, you can always click on its contact and actually access help in a multitude of ways. But you see that this has a lot of different options for your launchers that you can add in and then set up however you like. I don't remember who it was. There was an Android guy, a YouTuber that used to say, like, make the box yours. And I actually always really liked that. But if I could remember his name, I would give him a shout out. But I do not remember his name. And as promised, see, if you do make a mistake, if you've messed up your settings royally, you can go to the Contact Us section and find help, via chats or other methods, and they can get you back on track. But that's it. That is the K3 Pro. Its Android works really well. It works great for your TV. It's easy to manipulate with your controller. Supports browsers. Has a decent amount of space to get started. And you should give it a shot if you're looking for a new Android device. I have a feeling we're going to see more of these on the market going forward with the upcoming changes to Amazon. They're not going to be using Android much longer for their basic operating system. So this is probably the first of many videos we're going to do featuring Android devices. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found it interesting. Either which way, if you did, please subscribe. Please share this video with your friends who are interested in the same stuff we are. And as always, I'm Ryan Downey, the Streaming Advisor. Stream on, my friends.